in the system until last minute when we saw a bit of sell-off and profit-taking on Dangote Cement by some 4% plus. And that was how we then ended in the negative territory. Save for that, we would have been able to close in the green yesterday because we saw more interest. That bargain hunting you were talking about, more of it in the banking sector, which was basically the only sector that then closed positively by 38 basis points yesterday after we saw more investments in the likes of Zenith Bank, GT Bank, of course, Unity Bank. But generally, we came in yesterday at 79 basis points negative. Equity capitalization was 11.8 trillion naira. And for the volume, it was 136.73 million units of shares that was traded yesterday, eventually for a value of just 1.43 billion naira, and all that transpired in just 2,801 deals. The market breadth was positive, which explains the kind of sentiment that dominated the market until we saw the sell-off on Dangote Cement yesterday. We got 15 gainers versus 14 losers. In terms of other sectors, consumer goods sectors was down as a result of the sell-off we saw on Nigerian breweries, which lost some 2.73%. Unilever also experienced 2.17% losses. These were the two stocks that dragged that sector yesterday in the market. The industrial goods sector was as a result of the losses we saw in Dangote Cement. Now, insurance sector was also down. We know how it's been going on in that sector. Some 54 basis points losses yesterday, while the oil and gas segment of the market was basically flat yesterday. This takes us to the energy market side of the show, where you look at the numbers right there, it's all in the red, and except for the ones that refuse to move. You got corn oil, you got Forte Oil, 11 PLC, O&O. The major active stocks in the oil and gas segments were really flat yesterday, while we didn't see trading in a whole lot of orders. At the NASD OTC, you got the unlisted securities index standing at 721.59. Now it looks like we've seen the end of the correction that we've been seeing in the index for a while now. It has now stabilized at the 700 psychological mark, as we saw the market rising yesterday by some 32 basis points. In terms of the market capitalization, was 488.32 billion naira. I understand some traders are already betting if this will hit 500 billion naira in terms of capitalization on that side of the market. We'll keep our fingers crossed and see how that goes. For volume, just 428,248 units sold for a value of 17.13 million naira. At the fixed income market, looking at the bond segment, you got a reversal of the bullish sentiment that we've been seeing in the past few sessions. Yesterday, market was bearish as average yield rose by 8 basis points to 14.8%. We saw sell-off on the July 2021, as well as that, well, of course, that then had to rise, expand by some 80 basis points, which led to the yield at the short end of the curve rising by some 25 basis points. But then there was a bit of a yield contraction now at the mid and the long segments of the market. If you look at the numbers on the screen, you've got 17th of March 2027, which was priced at 100 and above 106 naira before. Then it came in at 105 naira 98 kobo yesterday. You also have the March 2027 security priced at 82 kobo, having a bit of a yield contraction yesterday because of the demand that we then saw there. This takes us to T-bills market, where yesterday the CBN had a primary market auction, and at the primary market auction you had 133.4 billion naira being offered across the 91-day, 182-day, and the 364-day bills. And at the end of the day, we saw that stop rates moderated compared to what they were in the past. They were fully allotted yesterday by the CBN across this amount that was offered. But at the secondary side of the market, representing the numbers you have there, this is the short end of the curve where we've seen a whole lot of interest of investors in the past few days. But then proceedings was really mixed yesterday. Average yield moderated 3 basis points to 12.91%, while we saw demand in the 29-day to maturity and 162-day to maturity, leading to yield contraction at the mid and the short side of the curve there. Sell pressure we saw at the long end of the curve, and that ended up leading to a high yield by some 14 basis points yesterday, which is Wednesday, the 3rd of October, 2018 here in the Nigerian capital market. One of the news now that investors, traders basically are waking up to in the system is the demise of one of the past director generals of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Apostle Hayford Alile, which you talked about earlier, boss. And I'm just wondering how much you can tell us about the late Apostle Hayford Alile.
Thank you, Temple. I shared you so much to write a very big book, but I'm not too sure when I'll be able to write that. But again, to let everyone know, this was the man who spent a very long time, Hayford Alile. It was at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Of course, he joined the Stock Exchange, then rose to become the Director General. But of course, the period you're talking about, Temple, as we know, was a time when the market was growing through a particular period. And of course, those very early steps into the automation of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, that was part of what Hayford Alile, what we know today as automation. Of course, he was, as you may know, the Director General. Sometimes he did what you call the call-over session a few times. Most times this done by the Deputy or the Assistant Director General of the exchange. But Hayford Alile was a man who was very tough. He was a bit of media shy, Tempo. I remember a particular day we had a major issue at the Stock Exchange, and we're all waiting till about 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. A very hard-working man. Of course, he took a back door. Took a back door out of the exchange before we knew it, and before we knew that, well, he was gone. We couldn't do an interview with him. So he was a very shy man, very few words, but very hard-working, taciturn, and who took his job very seriously. We'll have to hear more. We'll be getting more reactions from from those who are very big wigs in the industry in the days ahead on the passage of Hayford Alile. Let's take a break. Thank you very much. We'll come back to you after the break. Oil price racing towards $90 or $100 a barrel. Let's have a party.